I know it doesn't make sense. You know, I'm a young graphic designer living in a city.
He's an older white Jewish man
from Vermont.
It's like I could pass a guy like him on the street.
It's just because of his values.
Even when it's not popular, even when it's not cool.
Everything that he talks about.
Actually taking on all special interests at once.
Bernie's the only person on that entire stage that's gonna say, this is what's right and this is what's gonna help everyone.
I was in school full time. I was working 2 jobs, one on-campus job, one off-campus job.
My sister and I are exactly a year apart, which means boom, boom, back to back, going into college.
A lot of men aren't given any opportunity to take time off to spend with their newborn babies.
The mom who didn't have money for a reliable daycare center.
Women hold like 2/3 of all student loan debt. And that really limits what we want to do.
And I think about my friends that are artists and not having to rely on just any job.
The idea of having children is actually really nerve-wracking because it feels like we kind of have to choose.
For the average woman, there is a decision that has to be made around whether or not if you pay that money or is it better to stay at home? Is it the job or is it the child?
And it's those types of day-to-day decisions that the billionaires aren't worried about, but millions of single mothers across the country are.
The way that our healthcare system currently exists, it makes me very nervous.
It costs a ton of money to go to the doctor. It costs a ton of money to see a specialist. It costs a ton of money to voice your concern about what's happening with you.
I know what's best for me, and I don't want someone on Capitol Hill telling me otherwise.
With immigrant women and women of color disproportionately carrying debt, they are already set up for a bit of failure.
Right now, I'm at about $35,000.
I'm beginning to understand what generational debt looks like and what it's going to be like if there is no solution.
I have struggled many years with being able to afford premiums and copays and medication.
The ways in which climate change impacts communities all over the world usually exacerbates gender gaps.
Women are at the forefront of climate disaster. We're often the ones who are doing the care work, who are walking miles or kilometers to fetch water and firewood in other parts of the world.
Women are the ones that predominantly are living in those homes, that are staying in those homes, taking care of those homes.
I think a lot of people look at me or women like me who dress like me and think like the first word that comes to their mind is like oppression. There's this overarching like patriarchy when it comes to like women being trusted to make the right decisions for themselves.
Everyone from all facets can understand the struggle of just being born with a W next to your name.
Because it disproportionately impacts us in the workspace, it impacts us at home.
He's fighting for affordable universal childcare and paid family leave.
I think that Bernie's view of government is a government of compassion and a government where we take care of each other.
I don't think there's any other candidate who's really inspired such a mass movement of people.
He really has a lot of empathy for the minority struggle in the United States.
He's been there fighting for those people for longer than I've been alive.
The fundamental right to live a life with dignity is at the forefront of what he's advocating for.
He recognizes that people start the race at different starting points.
Electing a president that fully supports funding for HBCUs is so important when it comes to closing a socioeconomic gap that affects so many minorities, especially Black women.
I stand with Bernie in this fight for college for all because families should not have to go into debt to ensure that their children receive a college education.
Bernie fights for families similar to mine.
For women and people who have had experiences like me that encounter unexpected hurdles.
These programs, these ideas, they benefit everyone. They benefit the entire country.
Senator Sanders has our back. He inspired Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and he's going to support us to assume these leadership positions in a way that no one else will. It feels like these issues are disconnected, but they're not, and I think Bernie is the one that speaks to the connection between healthcare, between climate change, between gender equity.
Bernie made me feel that I could be a part of the change.
This campaign is not just about one group of people. This campaign is about bringing millions of us together to create an unprecedented grassroots movement, not only to defeat Donald Trump, but to fundamentally transform our country. And if we can come together, if we can do that, we can win this election.